planting the church in Lincoln Heights, and then now helping to supervise the church plant in East LA. Um, the desire was always to kind of partner with God in what He wants to do among the urban poor, but then to be a bridge to building real relationship between Christians in the suburb church and Christians in the urban poor church. That was always a long-term vision. Well, when we knew that we wanted to plant a church among the urban poor, we just got some great wisdom from people that have gone before us. So two pieces that really anchored us was one, people had made the mistake of sending a lot of people from the suburb church to try to plant the urban poor church, and realizing that that just doesn't work because of these class walls. So we intentionally had a very small team. It was my wife and I and five others. And we sort of established in these first couple of years like an 80-20 rule. It's been kind of controversial, but we realized that we always wanted our community to be at least 80% from the neighborhood and only 20% people like me outside the neighborhood, so that it always had a neighborhood feel and a local feel and always felt welcoming to the neighborhood. And as the numbers grew from the local community, then we were able to welcome in more folks from outside, until we were able to really have leadership from the neighborhood and a critical mass. Then it's not as significant because now we've got the momentum going and it's established as a local church. That was a big piece of wisdom in terms of our first team being intentionally small. The other piece that was really significant was that we were going to really base our work on an incarnational model, so that we weren't going to live in the middle-class neighborhood that surrounds the east side of LA, like Alhambra, Monterey Park, or Highland Park, South Pass, those kind of things. We were going to move and really live in the community we were going to serve. And particularly what that meant for my wife and I is that we sold our house and we moved into an apartment complex, because we realized the most marginalized folks are living in the apartment complex. That's how we started. The first 7 years we were renters, learning how to walk with folks and learn their stories and just learn their lifestyles in the apartment complex. And so it was very difficult, right? I was the only white guy, in the place, for example. And it wasn't like people were just wanting to open their arms and say, hey, come on in, right? There's a lot of just scars and wounds that the poor have from dealing with folks like me, whether it's their bosses or just mainstream, interactions within LA society. So there was a lot of suspicion. Why are people like us, educated folks, moving into this apartment complex that's, that normally would not have people like us? So people thought I was an undercover cop. People thought I had like a secret drug addiction, right? Like, why would I move in there, right? And so it was very, very difficult at first. And we did not have a breakthrough for a long time. It took 6 months for any adult to really trust me. The first conversation I had, that adult kind of told me why nobody trusted me, right? And it just took a while, We tried so many different things and just tried to get to know our neighbors, but we realized we were dealing with a lot of dynamics, right? That were there before we were there, right? And so, in terms of the breakthrough, you want to know about the breakthrough, right? So I think for us, our model was we wanted it to be a community-based church. So we wanted to find pockets of community. So one of the pieces of advice that I was given was, don't come in and try to start your own programs. Just kind of start your own deal, right? That's one of the mistakes a lot of folks like me make. We just want to come in and lead. So it really was like just be in the community and just learn what's already going on. Where is God already at work? And where are the community leaders? And go learn from them and just plug yourself in. Be a servant, right? And so for 3 years, we didn't do any programs. We didn't have any identity as a church. We were just people living in the neighborhood, plugging ourselves in and walking alongside our neighbors. So in that course, we're trying to find where are just like the pockets of community. And one of the things I've learned is, unfortunately, one marker of marginalized community or urban community is there is very little community, right? That's one of the things that makes a community poor. It's not just financial. There's not a lot of deep relationships between neighbors, not a lot of activity that's pulling community together. Everybody is sort of surviving. But eventually we were led to the high school. We realized that the high school in our neighborhood was really a hub, both with what was happening with the students, but also with the adult school that was going on in the evenings that a lot of people from the neighborhood were going to. So, and that led us to, we found out like the strongest community within that high school was the football community. And a lot of folks were coming out and being a part of that, parents and alumni and all those kind of things. And so we just began to go to these football games and get to know people. And then the stories began to happen once we got connected to that scene.